Hey guys, so right out of the gate, let's talk about the meeting conversation between Hao and Anna, where Hao basically makes it a request that Anna delivers the tome of the shaman to Yo for his plans to work. Now, understand what this means. Obviously, as Hao says outright, Yo is just too weak for whatever he's scheming. But the scary part is, just by him saying that, it says that however strong Yo is now, and however strong Hao is now, like Hao is just that much more powerful, and more like, which isn't too shocking since we have seen how powerful Hao was in the past. But at the same time, within that very simple conversation and without directly saying anything, Hao has kind of set this benchmark where it makes it's kind of scary to imagine that however strong Hao is now, he could still become more powerful by involving Yo in whatever his plans are for Yo in terms of him wanting Yo to become more powerful and all that, and which but that in itself also makes its own is in its own scary reservation that and confirmation that but by Hao returning to his original Asakura bloodline, he's more powerful than he's ever been before. And and the scary part about all this, frankly, is that just within the few flickers of his power that we've seen, what he said isn't without merit either. The only question is how much more of his power have we not yet seen, and how much more powerful will he become once pretty much Yo has served the purpose that pretty much Hao has for him. But also, but even more than that, one thing I never appreciated before about the series, but definitely do now, is how much the series kind of pulls a very natural subversion of the villain's trap trope by Hal basically saying, "Yeah, I need you to spring the trap in order for my plan to work." Like, he's so charismatic and pretty much so cavalier and about the fact that he needs Yo to get more powerful that he doesn't even bother hiding it, but also revealing in how Yo is essentially the other half to unlocking Hao's power. Like, it's one of those things where I kind of appreciate how just nonchalant Hao is about. Yeah, I pretty much need Yo to get stronger. So can you go ahead and do that, Anna, please? Like, he's in some ways it's kind of one of those things where even though he's kind of making Anna his bitch pretty much. Like, it's like Anna is doing what she's doing anyway, but it's like, yeah, I he's too long. I need you to do this for me. Like, yeah, I kind of love how, like, he's so naturally charismatic. Um, with that said, our heroes make it to Patch Village, which, yeah, right out of the gate, the length of time and episodes it took to get here compared to the original series is definitely an improvement. But oddly enough, it is where I still have criticisms, because on one hand, the one thing I will give the reboot is that it did embrace a lot of the trippy and existential visuals in regards to this Great Spirit and the Great Spirit's trial, but at the same time, it still felt like it wasn't fully embracing them either. Like, this is oddly a problem I'm having with the reboot as a whole, even more than any censorship, which is when it comes to time for the anime to really embrace the visuals of the series, it feels like it's always stopping halfway. It's got a good foundation for showing us a great visual style, but only like fully embracing it in certain moments and partially embracing it in others. And whether that's budget constraints or creative decisions, I don't know, but it always feels like they're only putting so much effort into the visuals when they could be doing more. I don't know. Of course, now that we are in Patch Village, we also get introduced to the newest member of the main cast in the episode, Chocolov. And yeah, obviously the big thing to talk about that is his character has gotten a little bit of a facial redesign from his appearance in the original anime and manga. But honestly, just throwing my 2 cents in there, I'm fine with it, because even though things like his more bulbous nose and puffier lips did make him stand out more, It's also one of those things where I'm also surprised. I'm also surprised that it was only a few facial features. That a few facial features is all the studio changed about the character. Like everything else is more or less still intact. So, but besides that though, I was always kind of more curious of how the performance would pan out. Which I think it's the same VA of Chocolate that, that he had in the original anime. But even if it's not the the voice actor definitely captures the same manic, goofy energy I always loved about the character, while still maintaining that he's got this calm and reserved nature to him that shows that he knows more than he's letting on. So yeah, um, we also but the other thing we pretty much learned from Chocolove in the episode is that the tournament going forward is basically split between three opposing factions: Hao's group, the X-Laws, and a Buddhist group called Gandhara, which naturally Yo is gonna choose the path of not joining any of them, which in a lot of ways like really showcases just how much of an unbiased party he sees himself as in all this. But again, going off the harsh lesson he was forced to learn from the X-Laws, if Yo is really intending to do things this way, then he needs to make sure he has the strength of spirit and will in order to oppose Hao, because he can no longer afford to keep doing things exactly the way he's been doing them. He has to know that he has to show that he has the strength in order to actually actually do what he wants. And between the emotional backlash he experienced from the Great Spirit and Anna coming to Patch in order to give him the tome, and Ren forming his own separate group for the tournament, I think Yo does, at least in some ways, look like he's starting to come to that realization himself that he can't afford to do things like he has up to this point. And yeah, with Faust popping up again in the final minutes of the episode, you can probably tell who else is going to be on Yo's team. Um, Now, I guess we do have to talk about Lyserg, because yeah, it more or less showed us that even though he did make it to Patch Village like everyone else, you could say in some ways that he still failed his test, because he definitely appears like he's embracing the dark path of revenge more and more, which to that end it's an example of how we're getting to that point in with Lyserg's part of the story where, for as much as I'm not a fan of Lyserg, I'm even less of a fan of how his descent into darkness was handled in the manga. Like to the original anime's credit, they at least made it feel more. They at least made his. They at least made Lyserg's like eventual transition over into like wanting to fully want revenge and like and not and just choosing to forsake Yo and the others somewhat more understandable. Whereas here it feels more forced, for lack of a better term. So yeah, not I can't say I'm a huge fan of. Again, not a huge fan of Lyserg in general, but in terms of the progression of like Lyserg's turn to revenge and whatnot, it does definitely feel a lot more forced in the reboot than it did in the original anime, frankly. Um, but yeah, guys, that's pretty much all I got for this review. If you enjoyed the video, like, comment, subscribe. I'm on Twitter, Analyst Control. Be sure to hit the notification bell, hit the like button, and just share this video around, guys. Death Knight of Enemy, signing off. Later, guys.